Have you ever just wished your AI assistant could do more than, just talk to you? What if it could actually do your work for you? I mean, really do it. Clicking the buttons, typing into the forms, all right there on your screen. Well, Google just dropped something that takes AI from just thinking about the work to actually doing the work. Okay, let's dive into this. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll get into what this new kind of AI is all about. Then we'll peek under the hood and see how it actually works. After that, we'll check out some really impressive demos, talk about the super important safety side of things, and finally, we'll look at what all this means for the future of getting stuff done. All right, so what is the big idea here? Honestly, this is a fundamental shift. Most of the AI we use today can write an email or make a picture, but they've always been kind of stuck behind a wall. They couldn't actually use our software like we do. Well, that wall is starting to come down. No, really, just stop and think about that for a second. Think about all those tedious, click-heavy tasks you do every single day. Copying info from one spreadsheet to a web form, updating your CRM. What if you could just describe what you want done in plain English, and an AI just does it for you, across any website, any app? That's the future we're talking about here. This slide really gets to the heart of the before and after. See, in the past, for an AI to use an application, developers needed to build a special connection for it, called an API. You can think of it like a private staff entrance to a building. If there was no special door built for the AI, it just couldn't get in. But this new approach, it just walks in the front door. It interacts directly with the graphical user interface, the GUI. That's all the visual stuff, the buttons and menus that we humans use. It goes from just thinking and writing to literally seeing, clicking, and typing. And that means it can use almost any app out there.
So let's give this thing a name. What we're talking about is Google's Gemini 2.5 computer use model. At its core, it's an AI model that can control a user interface. The real magic here is that it's built on top of Gemini 2.5 Pro, which gives it this incredible ability to truly understand what it's seen on a screen and then reason about what it needs to do next. Okay, so that all sounds pretty amazing, but how does a piece of software actually, see a screen and click a button? Let's break down the mechanics. It actually all boils down to a really simple and continuous loop. This is the engine that drives the whole thing. Think of it like a quick back-and-forth conversation. First, you tell it what you want, and you give it a picture of your screen. The model looks at that picture, thinks about your goal, and decides on just one single action, like click the big blue submit button. Your computer does that, then it immediately takes a new screenshot of what the screen looks like now and sends that back to the AI. This constant loop, see, decide, act, then see again, is how it chains together simple actions to pull off incredibly complex tasks. All right, enough of the theory. It's one thing to talk about how it works, but it's another thing entirely to see it in action. So let's check out a couple of real-world demos from Google that really show off what this tech can do. Just listen to that prompt for a second. I mean, that is a genuinely complicated multi-step task. It involves finding specific information on one website, then switching over to a totally different app, a CRM, pasting that data in, and then booking a very specific kind of appointment. That's a real-world workflow. And it just did it. The AI handled the whole thing, completely on its own. The most incredible part here is its ability to context switch. It understands it needs to grab information from app A, then seamlessly pivot over to app B to use that information. And it did all of this from that one simple, plain English request. That is automation on a whole new level. Now for a totally different kind of challenge. This one isn't about moving data around, it's about visual organization. The user is basically showing the AI a messy digital whiteboard and asking it to tidy up. And once again, it totally nailed it. The AI opened the app, it visually understood which of those sticky notes were in the wrong place, and then it performed the physical action of clicking and dragging them over to the right sections. This is huge because it proves it's not just reading text, it's understanding spatial layouts and actually manipulating objects on the screen. Now, an AI that can literally take control of a computer is obviously an incredibly powerful tool. And anytime you have that much power, you absolutely have to talk about the risks. So it's crucial we understand how this technology is being built with safety right at the core. So you can really boil the risks down to three main areas. First, you've got bad actors who might try to use this for malicious purposes. Second, there's the chance the AI just messes up, right? It misunderstands what you asked and does the wrong thing. And third, a sneaky risk is that a malicious website could have hidden instructions that try to trick the AI into doing something you don't want it to do.
So what's the plan to deal with all that? While Google's built in several layers of safety, there's an automated service that checks every single action for potential risks before it gets executed. Developers can also set hard rules, like you are not allowed to try and bypass a CAPTCHA, ever. And for really high-stakes stuff, like, say, making a purchase, the model is designed to just stop and ask you for confirmation first.
But being safe is only half the story, right? It also has to actually work and work well. And when you look at the performance benchmarks, Gemini 2.5 is really impressive. On a standard test, it had the highest accuracy while also having the lowest latency. In simple terms, it gets the job right more often, and it does it faster than the other models. And crucially, these results were confirmed by independent third parties. Okay, so let's pull all of this together. What does this technology really mean for us? And where is it all going? Because this is way more than just a cool new feature. We're really looking at the next major frontier in automation.
And this is not just some science project. Companies are already putting it to work. Google's own teams are using it to automate software testing, which is saving them a ton of time. A company called Poke found it was a whopping 50% faster than other solutions for their AI assistant. And the Google Payments team is using it to automatically fix over 60% of their UI tests that used to fail. These are real, tangible results.
So what could you actually do with this? Well, if you run a business, imagine automating the entire customer onboarding process. If you're at an agency, what if you could automate client reports or social media management? And even for your personal life, think about automating tedious job applications or scheduling all your appointments. The list of possibilities just goes on and on. Now, Google might be out front right now, but they are not alone here. Anthropic already has a similar model, and you can bet that OpenAI is working hard on their own version. This capability, having AI agents that can use our computers, is quickly becoming the new table stakes. The race is officially on. Of course, we have to keep things in perspective. It's not perfect. Right now, it works best on websites and mobile apps, not controlling your entire desktop, at least not yet. It's not fully autonomous on every single task, and yeah, it can still make mistakes. But you have to see these as temporary hurdles for a technology that is moving at an incredible speed. So, I will leave you with this one question to really think about. After everything you've just seen, from automatically filling out forms to cleaning up a messy board, if you had an AI that could finally use your computer for you, what is the absolute first, boring, repetitive, soul-crushing task you would hand over to it? The answer to that question might just change how you work forever.